time. Toronto. VK on the beat. Check. I'm in Toronto where you wanna get the city love. I'm from Toronto where you wanna get the city love. I'm in Toronto like we wanna get the city love. My city love me back for my city love.
Welcome to episode 1250. That's 1250 of Toronto Mic'd. Proudly brought to you by Great Lakes Brewery, a fiercely independent craft brewery who believes in supporting communities, good times, and brewing amazing beer. Order online for free local home delivery in the GTA. Palma Pasta. Enjoy the taste of fresh, homemade Italian pasta and entrees from Palma Pasta in Mississauga and Oakville. Season 4 of Yes, We Are Open, the award-winning podcast from Moneris, hosted by FOTM Al Grego. RecycleMyElectronics.ca, committing to our planet's future means properly recycling our electronics of the past. The Moment Lab, brand marketing and strategy, PR, advertising, and production. You need the Moment Lab. And Ridley Funeral Home, pillars of the community since 1921. Today, making his third appearance on Toronto Mic'd, but his first in almost 6 years, Mike Stafford.
6 years?
6 years, Mike. Where the heck have you been?
I've been hanging around, just doing stuff. You know what I mean? You were calling this on Twitter a secret episode.
Well, you know why? I wasn't sure you'd show up.
Really?
So the reason I called it a secret episode was because I was like 50. I didn't tell anybody this was happening. No one knows this is happening because I just thought you might change your mind. Like, I'm actually still surprised you're here.
Well, I told you when I got here, my pot store, because I live in Mississauga still.
Right.
And we're not getting pot for who knows when. It's been approved, but is Urban Bud, which is Lakeshore and I don't know.
Around Islington or something like that.
No, that's 7th
Royal
Street.
York?
Right?
Okay.
No, across from where the Lickbo and the Shoppers Drug Mart.
Yeah, like second or third. I don't know, fourth. It's around there.
No. That's going toward the bad part of town. I'm talking like 30.
Oh, Long Branch.
Yes.
Okay, yes, Long Branch. Mike, you're in New Toronto now. But
yes.
Not your first visit here. So you've been here 3 times.
You've changed, though. It looks like a little cozier.
You know why? Even though we're not recording this video, it's kind of made to look better on like TV. Like
I get you.
So it's like all these changes were actually like Hebsy initiated because he wanted it to be a TV show because Hebsy thinks TV first, or I think audio first, and TV is like an afterthought. But so we're audio only today, but we'll take our photo by the tree. And welcome back, Staff.
Thank you, and thank you for the Great Lakes. I adore Great Lakes. You're doing another one of those GLB things.
Well, we all get together. We're going to have a TMLX 13 on the patio of Great Lakes.
You had a
Brewery.
bunch of my old friends together with them a couple of weeks ago, didn't you?
Oh, that was so there's two, yes, right. So the Etobicoke location where I have my events, that's like near the Costco in Etobicoke. But they have a Jarvis and Queens Quay location not far from where you used to work.
Right.
And in fact, you brought this up, but yeah, a lot of your former colleagues at 640 were there.
Yeah,
for
they came out with a beer, a 640 beer or something.
With Great Lakes, and I think it's because the Chorus Key is so close to this new location at Jarvis and Queens Quay. But some people, you were shouted out because I had Patrick on the show.
Good man.
Patrick and I asked Patrick if he had any audio of the time you called me a turd in his basement.
Yes, you pissed me off.
Let's do that. Let's address that before we dive into what the hell happened at 640, and then we have a lot of catching up to do here.
You pissed me off because you were talking to Lou Skizis, who had, I still don't know what happened with Lou, and you asked him, like, has anyone reached out to you, and not even Stafford, and I thought, whoa.
But that's the only time I mentioned you that episode.
Yes, I know. I
I
was a bitter
curious.
prick then, Mike. Now that I'm out of radio, I'm full of joy.
But you hurt me. Like, here's why you hurt me. Because we prior to you even visiting, we'd email each other, or you used to comment on the old Toronto Mic different. You used to comment, you would email me, and I got, I thought, oh, Stafford's a buddy. Like, we can chat about things.
Yeah.
And then you came over.
Yep.
It was a great episode.
Checked out the jams once.
You came back that's the last time you were here. It was 2017, and you came back to kick out the jams.
That's when my mom died.
And here, this is funny. So coincidentally on Facebook, I get these Facebook memories. And this one popped up from 2017, on this day in 2017. This aired on 640.
And you were mentioning the Toronto Mic'd podcast.
Yeah, you were down in his basement yesterday.
Have you been there?
Yeah, a couple of years ago.
Did you hit your head?
Me? All 5'7" of me? No. Hey, by the way, you look great. You've lost some weight.
Yeah, my doctor sent me to see another doctor who specializes in weight loss.
Yeah, you looked at your picture with Mike on his website. Looked good.
Yeah, well, took off some beef. So, feeling all right, looking all right, So, yeah, I'm healthy with that and happy with it.
You Joe Cocker, feeling all right.
Well, you know what, Mike? When people see you lose weight quickly, they think you're sick.
Right? Exactly. But
I was out with David Onley, the former lieutenant governor, and he said, "No, I saw your eyebrows. You're okay." So I said, "Hey, good intelligence. I hadn't had that on my radar." But anyway, the reason I went to do the podcast with Mike was I was number one curious about the means of production.
Yeah,
and like for very little money, right? He's out there producing his own interview series and that sort of thing, and the sound quality is pretty good.
It's excellent, and he's yourself. He's had Ron McLean in there. He's got a few gets that he still wants to get, but you're right. His setup is, my God, we spend as media companies a fortune to achieve the same kind of sound and distribution.
Well, the distribution I think is different in that you can't tune them in. Right. You got to download the product.
Yeah.
Now, I think that there's probably some of the stuff I'm not really aware of that could get it on your smartphone as it's happening. But I don't know if that's the case. Right. Like I know for myself, the way I use radio, it's usually in the car. Right.
Yeah.
And if it's not available to me in the car or I don't have the technology to get it in the car, it's less useful to me. But I thought it was pretty interesting from a technology acquisition point of view.
Did you get a little 6-pack of the Great Lakes?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, of course.
I didn't.
Was that because he didn't have the sponsorship at that time?
Yeah, I guess. No, it was a good time. It was good to listen to. I want to listen to the rest when I get home.
Okay. Well, any pointers, send them my way. Back with you tomorrow. Happy capitalism.
Happy capitalism. So that was on this day in 2017.
May the 4th, 2017.
Yeah.
Yeah. God love Lou, and congratulations to his daughter, Madeline.
Yeah.
I mean,
know.
Good Lord.
And if the Russians didn't cheat, she would have got a bronze for the team.
I think so.
Yeah. Unbelievable. Yeah. And, hopefully one day she does medal at the Olympics at the next Winter Games. But that's incredible, her success.
Yeah, she's done very well. Good parents, Linda and Lou.
Okay, so 2017, so you're still like friends with me there. Like you're warm and fuzzy to me. Lou too, by the way, who also doesn't talk to me anymore. And I don't know what that's about. But what so you heard the I don't know, at some point Lou comes back after he was let go by 640, and you're right, because I reviewed the tapes because I'm like, why did Stafford turn on me? And then I listen closely and I say to him, have you heard from Stafford since you were let go? He says no, then I move on. I don't bring it up again. Yeah. But that, I guess, triggered something, and that you called me a turd in my basement.
Yeah. I would have called you way worse if I was serious about it, Mike, believe me. I don't know.
We got to address that so that I can feel better about things.
No, don't take it personally, but I can't believe it was 2017.
Yeah. So 6 years ago, that recording's 6 years ago today, and then the turd in the basement remark, I can't remember when that was, but it was after Lou was let go. So you don't know why Lou was let go?
I have no idea. I know that when I took over the morning show after promising up and down in my first meeting with you here that I would never take the morning show,
right?
The hosts at the time were not fans. They were not fans of Lou. They weren't fans of his politics, et cetera, et cetera. So there's a lot of, I can say shit, right?
Yeah,
a lot of shit going on. And I arrive on this show, and all of a sudden I learn that, they're not fans of Lou. So that's why when I was doing the morning show with Supriya, I did all the Lou segments. I'm not speaking out of turn here.
I mean, you might as well. You're not there anymore, right?
This is true. This is true. But I still have, some.
Sure.
Mike, what hurts is dreaming about the place.
Talk to me.
Constantly. I think it was 2 nights ago. I dreamed that I'm still working there. I'm still doing the shows, but I'm not getting paid. It's like I just show up. It's like Costanza at the real estate office. You just show up. What's Stafford doing here?
So still, because how long has it been since you were on 640?
The last time I was on was the morning of June 2nd, 2021.
Okay, I realize now as we're talking, there's so much to unpack here. So can we start with your physical well-being? Okay, we're going to just open with this because you were still at 640 when you broke your neck, right?
Yeah, that was the summer of 2020. That was me falling backwards onto some hardwood in our living room. And as you know, I had an arthritic back since I was 22 anyway. And the way I landed was because I can't keep my head up. I landed completely on the first vertebrae in my neck. And it was a Friday night. There may or may not have been beer involved.
Shout out to Great Lakes.
Yeah. Saturday, I get up. I said to my wife, I don't feel that good, but, I put heat, ice heat. Sunday, still not feeling right, but I booked a couple of days up at the Fern Inn, which we used to go to every summer, and that was all set. Sunday night, when I lost control of my bowels and started throwing up, I thought, okay, this might be serious here.
Wow.
Google didn't help me much. And Monday morning, I said to Jody, I got to call an ambulance. I went in there. Fantastic people up at Trillium, up on Queensway. And they took me and they took x-rays, et cetera, et cetera. They put me on morphine because I was in pain. And about 7 hours sitting in the fracture clinic, and a doctor came up to me, a neurologist. Mm-hmm. They just looked at the pictures. They said, you have a very serious problem here. You have a massive blood clot behind the broken, you've broken your vertebrae. I think they call it the C1. Or C7. C1 will kill you. Okay. C1's at the very top. C7's at the back. You can feel it with your finger. And we have to do emergency surgery. Wow. This was at the height of COVID as well.
Right, 2020. Yeah.
They said, we're putting you on the table tonight around 11:30. I called my wife, God love her, who couldn't come because of COVID. And they were very honest with me. They said, they didn't tell me at the time that it was 50-50, that I was coming out of this.
Wow.
So I remember calling my wife. She was beside herself. The next thing I remember is waking up in the recovery room, and Jody was there, and the doctors were there. And I was in hospital for about a week and a half. They wanted me out of there because of COVID. No one could visit me. They were also renovating at the time, so there were no TVs. Thank God. May I rest in peace, Steve Jobs and the people who developed the iPad to keep me entertained for a week. It was bad. It was bad. I was off work from middle of July. I didn't come back till December. And they insisted at Chorus that I get some sort of letter from my neurologist. Now, again, I don't know if you had a doctor's appointment during COVID or any in your family.
I broke my wrist during COVID.
Oh, man, you know what the hell it was.
So I had to, all the time in the fracture clinic, and it was nuts.
And even follow-ups were impossible to get. I talked to the neurologist. I said, I need a letter, so Chorus, for insurance reasons, I was on short-term disability. That ran out. That only lasts 6 months. So I was getting no money. And the neurosurgeon said, yeah, I will send you the letter. I'll email it right now. And I said, doctor, by the way, an amazing young man, neurologist. I said, doctor, how bad was it? And his voice dropped, and he said, it was bad. It was very, very close.
Wow.
Have you ever been on hydromorphone?
I don't think so. I'm not sure what that is.
The brand name is Dilaudid.
No, I don't think so.
It's a painkiller. I was on that. That was hell coming off. I can see why.
Is that an opiate?
Oh, yeah. Big
okay.
It's
I've been on Perks for a separated shoulder.
Yeah, Perks are... Dilaudid is one step ahead of Perks.
Gotcha.
So I finally came back to a show that my co-host had quit.
Right. Supriya quit the morning show.
And quite understandably so.
So why did she quit again?
I'm only privy to, before I broke my neck, what was going on with listeners and emails.
Okay.
She was getting some very vicious emails. The usual crowd, the QAnon morons. I was a cuck. I was a cuck this, cuck that, cuck this. And they were talking about raping her daughter. And,
oh my God.
And she's a very cool woman. I mean, she's just one of the, I know she comes across as such a mealy-mouthed lefty. She's not. I mean, she's got her beliefs, but she's an incredible woman. She was so supportive when I was off, but I think she just had it. Chorus wouldn't do anything. In fact, she went on record that their lawyer, Howard Levitt,
right,
suck it up, buttercup. Why would you choose a career in a medium that attracts this kind of? They threatened to rape her daughter. So I had a chance to speak to her, obviously, when that happened, and then when I got let go. But I came back and Supriya was gone. So I was still not even close to 60%, but I had to get back to work, Mike.
You were mobile then, obviously.
I was able to drive. I was driving with a neck brace on because I was so petrified of getting into just a minor rear ender that this neck would just snap.
And you're still taking these painkillers?
No. Okay. I'm just doing Great Lakes and Advil now.
Right.
But coming off them was tough. So.
Are you off them now? Like, I mean, I've heard horror stories.
No, I had to. Yeah, the sweating, the jerky leg movements.
I mean, you hear about like professionals, right? Like a lawyer who's taken heroin, and it all starts with like I broke my leg or whatever, and I went on like Percocets, and then that's like the path. Absolutely.
I mean, I can't. I hate going grocery shopping now because I can't see what's on the top shelf.
Yeah,
I just can't lift my head up anymore. The doctor said this is your new normal. This is going to be your life for now.
And at least you have a life staff, and we're going to be all over the place here, but you found out it was like 50-50 when you broke that neck, 50-50.
Yeah, they didn't. I'm glad they didn't tell me that before I went under.
Yeah.
It was nice to hear it 5 months later.
Did you have a will prepared or no? Another personal question, probably. But I asked it anyway.
Do you need one when you're married? Because doesn't it all go to her?
I guess so. So I need to, though, ask about something because I can't remember where this was in the sequence of events, but you were suspended for tweets. And then I remember, because I used to follow you on Twitter, I enjoyed your tweets, and then all of a sudden your Twitter account was gone.
Yep.
That's before you broke your neck.
This was the summer of 2019.
Okay, so much to cover here, Staff.
A year
Holy
prior.
Okay.
Yeah, well, it's all going to be my new book. I had gone to the hospital. I'd taken Jody to the hospital. She'd broken her shoulder.
Okay, that hurts too.
Yeah, everyone falling down in our house. And it was a hot Sunday afternoon. It was crammed back at Trillium. I'm in the ER, and I thought I'd be funny. And I made a joke about, because it was not necessary for it to be that crowded, but people were coming in with entire families for one patient.
Right.
And stupid me thought, okay, I'm going to make a joke about, Apu and the crowd of hijabs and blah, 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 blah. Just brilliant stuff. Until the next day when my boss calls me and said, we have a problem with your tweet. Obviously you do. And then Canada Land got all over it.
Yeah, they'll do that.
Yeah. Jesse and the boys. And I was suspended for a week. It was a punch to the gut, and it was completely deserved. And I was told to delete my Twitter account. I personally apologized to a number of people. My boss at the time, Jeff, he said, one thing, Mike, is when I talk to your coworkers, almost 100% support you. They don't believe that in any way you are a hardcore racist. I went back on air. Now, I did sign something, and this is, I think, key to what happened in June of 2021.
So you signed, like, I promise to
I'm not going to do
myself.
this again. I'm not going to do this again.
Okay.
Chorus was, I guess, so much to cover, but Chorus had gone through its own controversy that same year with a number of people working there, people of color, BIPOC, who were complaining they weren't getting paid the same, they weren't getting the same per diems as other people at Chorus, that they felt because of their skin color, they were not able to progress through the company. Chorus was going through a hell of a time. They hired external consultants to come in and try to fix the matter. Now, that's all stuff way above my pay grade. It just happened to coincide with what I had tweeted. So, yeah, I still have a Twitter account. It's private, and I follow cops. I follow you. I follow other newsmakers. But
I also had a blood clot.
Your CVT.
Yes. Different than what you had that required surgery. But just interesting when you said you had a blood clot and they had to go in and, you had a 50-50. I was just thinking I'm coming off a blood clot as we speak. But enough about me, Staff. This is about you.
No, I want to wish you well on that, because that must have been a very scary diagnosis.
It was, because it was on my brain, and I feel like that's an important organ. Like, I'm thinking...
What? More than your dick? Come on!
The big three organs, brain, heart, and dick. But anyway, I'm on blood thinners, so there's my story. And I actually just posted an update on...
You're going in for an MRI?
Yeah, end of May. It's like Friday at 7 p.m. And I'm like, yeah, like hopefully the Leafs don't have a playoff game that night.
I got to tell you, mid-90s, I was... I had this tingling in my side of my face.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, this isn't good. And I went to see a neurologist, and she said, okay, we're going to set you up for an MRI at St. Mike's.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be about 4 months. Okay, cool.
Right.
4 months arrive. I go to St. Mike's. I lay down on the table. It takes me in automatically into the machine.
Mm-hmm.
I start yelling like a bitch.
Oh, like claustrophobia?
I was freaking out. Again, because I've always been in a stoop,
right.
I couldn't lay my head down, and the top of the MRI was against my nose. I couldn't breathe.
Right. And you started to panic.
Yeah, and they pulled me out, and they said, you're going to miss your appointment. I don't care.
Get me out of this. Like, it's like a tomb. It's like a coffin.
But you've had MRIs before, haven't you?
I've had MRIs before. Yeah. A lot of injuries. Okay. So, but you, so where are we at in this journey here? So yeah, it sounds like they were hypersensitive to tweets about, Apu. Apu can't even be voiced by Hank Azaria anymore.
No, or Dr. Hibbard by Harry Shearer. No.
Right. So so times have changed. So you were told to delete your Twitter account, and you got a 1-week suspension, and then you signed something that said you'll behave yourself.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Right. Probably one of those, 2 strikes, you're out.
But so then in the timelines here, as we keep it track. So this happens in 2019.
Yep.
2020 is when you break your neck.
Yep.
And so now you're only at like 60%, and you're finished your short-term disability leave there, but you're coming back because Supriya Dwivedi has quit, and you're coming back to be the morning show host on 640.
Yeah. Came back in, I think, December 7th or so. It's interesting, that first Christmas, I was the only regular they scheduled. I think they figured Stafford had enough time off.
Oh no!
So 2 weeks of Christmas. Normally, I was taking time. I was a keener. Working through January, February, March, April, May. It's tough doing it alone. It's also tough doing it when you're, basically disabled now. And then June arrived, and that fateful day, June 2nd, I'd done a morning show where I had interviewed a expert from the university, from Oxford University. And he was the first one to suggest during COVID that we stop identifying variants based on origin, like a country, Indian variant,
right,
South African variant, because of the connotations, right? Okay, fine. I did that interview, went home. I'm sitting, Doug Ford was having a news conference. I was on something called Microsoft Teams.
I know it well. It's an internal, like, instant messenger for
very cool
corporate folks.
And I'm not into that crap. But we used to gather around in the afternoon. We'd all be on our teams. Most people were still working at home.
Right.
I was at home. By the way, I was the only on-air person for those months who did the show from Chorus Key.
Interesting. So they let you do that, though. I
insisted on it, and they, if you follow procedures, et cetera,
right.
Yeah, I just absolutely had to be. I'm an old fart. 40 years in the business. I need a studio. So anyway, that happened so it was top of mind, and I'm watching a Doug Ford news conference on June the 2nd, 2021. And Ford keeps using Indian variant. Now, me and my pals in the newsroom, often when we were watching Doug Ford or even who was the idiot, Dr. Moore,
right?
The word salad guy we used to talk about.
Yeah.
We were always having fun on Teams, making fun of Doug's clothing, making fun of Doug's sweating, making fun of Doug's malapropisms, et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
Here's what I wrote.
Mm-hmm.
Indian. I said, what's with Ford and the Indian? $5, he's going to call it the Paki variant next. And that was it. P-A-K-I. A word that was growing up in Brampton during the 80s, considered poisonous today, understandably so. It's the equivalent, I guess, of the N-word.
Although the difference being that you wouldn't have said the N-word right now. You would have called it the N-word, but you actually said the P word. So it's a racial slur for
it's a racial
South
slur.
Asians. So.
Absolutely. Because Doug and I are of the same time.
Right.
And I can just imagine, Anyway, I wrote it, laughed about it, shut it off. But an hour later, Jeff called my boss. Take that down. What you posted? He said this to me. I get what you were doing, and I know you get what you were doing, but there are some people who work with us who don't look on it as funny at all. So I took it down. 5 o'clock, another phone call. This time, my boss and one of the heads of HR. We're very concerned about what you wrote. You are hereby suspended immediately with pay. We're launching an investigation. She used the words that I keep hearing all the time now. We take this very seriously. It's like no one ever took anything seriously until this era. And stand by. So they did their investigation, and HR called me back on the Friday. And they got my side of the story, and she said to me, and I knew I was dead. She said to me, I just want to let you know that we are taking this still very, very seriously, and there's a very high probability that this may affect your employment here. Have a good weekend.
Wow.
Sunday night, London, Ontario, some maniac in his car deliberately drove it into a family that happened to be of Pakistani origin. Killed, I think, 4 of them. I thought, oh, my God. Oh, my God. I mean, what I did, I did. Then I got the phone call on Wednesday, the 9th of June, and there was the blah, 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 your employment with Chorus Entertainment. I just finished 20 years there. Your employment with Chorus is now done. And I said, are you firing me for cause? She goes, yes. I said, that's the capital punishment. Because after I hung up the phone, I don't care about my email account and stuff like that. My benefits, I got a kid, a wife. I got a pair of glasses here that are 3 years overdue. All I got were my entitlements, which would be vacation pay. And that was it. 42 years of radio over.
So 0 severance.
0. Absolutely. I couldn't get EI. You cannot get EI if you've been fired for cause. The government considers the fact that it was your own fault. Be like quitting.
All right, let me go back again before we dive into that. So so the context is particularly in 2023, the context doesn't matter. Like I actually get your joke too. The joke is that this ignoramus Doug Ford he would call it that because he is the like from a different era and wouldn't realize how inappropriate that term is. Like so, and I'm gonna, and again, I'm not here to make excuses for you, but I have thought long and hard about all of this. But you might have felt a little safer on an internal chat. Like this is not a tweet. This is not a public Facebook post. No, you might have felt like you just felt like this is very different than Twitter. You speak for yourself. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but you must have felt safe in an internal Teams chat. Well,
yeah, and especially with people that I've been working with, and they were constantly needling Doug about his weight and everything else that you would consider to be out of bounds. His clothing, his style of speech, et cetera, et cetera. Right. And I thought, I'm going to be with the fun kids. I'm going to say something about Doug too. And don't I hit the nuclear option?
Okay, I think I want to say Canada Land also had this one too, right? Like a screen cap. Do I have the right right outlet, or was it a different digital outlet?
This is the next part of the story.
Oh, right.
They told me on the 9th when I was fired for cause. I don't know why she said it. She said, Michael, we want to make sure that you do not post or discuss this on social media. Treat this privately, blank, 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 which, piss off. You just fired me for cause.
Right.
I can do whatever I want. But you know what? I respected it until I got a message from a reporter at Vice. It was Vice.
Gotcha. It's Vice. Okay.
And I said to her, how did you learn about it? Because she got a copy.
She had a screen capture.
She had a screen cap.
Right.
And I said, how did you find out about this? She says, I can't tell you. I have to, protect my sources, etc. I know who it was. And this person and I did not get along. He was probably the only person I did not get along with for a number of reasons. And I know that's where the leak came from.
Like, do you know, or do you think you know?
Oh, no, I know. Okay. I know, no.
Is this an on-air person?
No.
Okay.
No. I don't want to give any names or anything like that. It's been 2 years, but it was like, and a number of people who messaged me on Facebook and stuff like that said that, man, you got stabbed in the back. I said, yeah, I guess so. I don't know why someone would think that they need to destroy a person when you're coming off a crippling injury and knowing that, I was 60 at the time. I just turned 60 or about to turn 60. Again, there's no excusing what I wrote, but why pick up the freaking phone and contact Vice? Why do that? I mean, just let me die. Let me die anonymously in the weeds. And all of a sudden, Jane Stevenson of the Toronto Sun's writing about it. She's their concert reviewer, for Christ's sakes. And I have not read anything. I have not, the Sony board. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't read any. I couldn't take the negativity. I was in denial for a few weeks, Mike, but then again, I still had some money. I was in total denial, so I just kind of went, okay, just enjoy the summer and we'll see what happens.
Right.
Lots of support on Facebook from people, including from people who can piss off as well. Yeah, you're right on, mate. These liberal woke pricks, and like, piss off. I don't want to get into this culture war about what I wrote. So I had that side, hailing me like some sort of proud boy, and I had some people as well saying, you've always been. I mean, Dean Blondell called me a cockroach. I've never really met this guy.
Yeah. Don't get me started, Mr. Stafford. Okay, I just realized the camera's not on, so nobody could read my
your
lips
eyes
there.
rolled right back in the back of your
okay.
head.
Yeah, I'm not surprised by
so,
that.
yeah, I don't know why that person thought they had to do what they did, but it sort of cemented.
It's almost Machiavellian. Like it's like we're reading like a part of a Shakespeare play here where, again, people can. Well, you did it. You typed in that word, and you didn't do like maybe no asterisks.
No.
And it was literally and again, it's a word, you said it, but the P word, 4 characters. You typed it into an internal team, so that is chorus property because you're doing it in
But understandably, and they also pointed out to me that it wasn't just a team. All employees had access to that channel, which was a 640.
Oh, it wasn't like a
640
right. Toronto
News. Okay. So, it wasn't just the 7 of us who were online at the time. That happened, but I know with what was going on, of course, at the time, with them trying to, fix the previous problem, they had Supriya who was suing them through the Human Rights Commission.
Right.
I don't know how that.
Yeah, I don't know if that's still ongoing or not. I actually don't know.
I haven't talked to Supriya in a while. I know she's got some family issues, but.
Oh yeah, yes.
And that was it. Somebody decided, let's take this public and really, dig the guy a deeper grave.
Did you do anything to try to get some severance? I mean, you were 20 years at the station. You were there for Mojo, right? So Mojo launches in.
I was the only guy to survive Mojo.
Right.
I survived Mojo. I survived the crap that you call the new Mojo. I survived the crap where they didn't have a clue what they were doing.
Toxic. Yeah. Okay. So, by the way, since we last talked, Andrew Crystal passed away. So I don't know if you were tight with Andrew, but
Andrew was a weird cat.
Yeah,
he was
big
a
time.
weird cat. That was very. There's a lot of them going now. James Scott, I used to work with at CFNY.
James Baby Scott.
James Baby, Brad McNally.
Yes.
Yeah. Don Daynard.
Don Daynard.
Sweetheart. But they lived natural lives to their conclusion. Unfortunately, some of them were too short.
Okay, so you're there for the launch of 640, and your old buddy Fred Patterson was the morning show, and that was Humble and Fred.
Freddie and Humble, yep.
Yeah, and then that's 20 years. I just did the math in my head. You're right, it's 20 years you're there. And
it was them, Ripken, Derringer.
Did you ever hear the story of why Ripken was let go? Did you ever hear that story?
The story I heard was
because he told it to me, but go ahead.
It was the All-Star game in Florida,
right.
In the NHL.
Right.
And he showed up hammered, no shoes.
I just heard he made some anti-Semitic remarks with Humble Howard.
Yeah, and Renee Roth, the another woman who's passed on. He was our general sales manager. That's all I heard was that he came in there like a tornado and left.
And I suppose if we look at everything, Crystal shows up as a replacement of sorts for Ripken, right? Because Ripken was there from the beginning.
Yeah, Andrew, they plugged in wherever they could, really.
Right. What an interesting guy. Okay, so you're there 20 years.
Yep.
You're told essentially your services are no longer required. They cancel your swipe card.
Oh yeah. They canceled. No benefits.
Well, they pay you for the whatever outstanding vacation pay because they have to do that. And then But did you do anything? Did you get a lawyer or something and try to get some severance?
I did. I got a lawyer who was recommended by another lawyer friend of mine who couldn't represent me because he spends a lot of money with Chorus Entertainment. I think you know who I'm talking about. He was great.
Right.
$800 an hour.
Wow.
I got nothing coming in.
Yeah.
So we had our first initial consultation. I gave him my credit card number, $800. Okay. We need $2,500 tomorrow to cover the rest of the month. The retainer was going to be about $2,500 a month for who knows. And we're in the middle of COVID. Employment lawyers were making a fortune. People getting fired because, they wouldn't show up for work or whatever. The employment law industry was booming at the time. And I was assured that there was no assurance that I could win this thing. That it depends on what the judge is. I've read that proving dismissal for cause is extremely difficult. It has to be pretty egregious behavior. Pretty egregious.
Right.
It comes down to the fact where the company decides it no longer can support a employee-employer relationship. And that's what Chorus had decided at that point, which is fine. Anyway, Mike, I ran out of money. And I was looking for contingency lawyers, where, they would get a piece of whatever money I would make.
Right.
Because I was owed 24 months. Mike, I was making good money.
Yeah.
I was making very good money, and talking to a couple of people, including people in employment law, this was as much as Chorus is a company that respects diversity, blah, blah, a salary dump. A 60-year-old making the kind of money I was making is a perfect way to get him off the payroll, because whoever they brought in wasn't getting the money I was getting. It turned out to be Greg, who's a great guy. So, yeah, it was partially a salary dump as well. But I just could not afford, given the fact that because of COVID again and everything was being done through Zoom, what could have been a very, very lengthy arbitration. But
is there a statute of limitations here? Like, is it too late?
No, not yet.
Like if there's a employment lawyer listening who would work with you for, like you said, no money up front, but a percentage of money gained from this process, like
Lionel Hutz,
you'd be open.
Works on contingency? No, money down.
I'm Lionel Hutz, attorney at law. Yeah, man, I miss Phil Hartman. I know a few aside. I know when I used to listen to you in the car, I had a commute back in the day. It's been a while now, but I would listen to you do Simpsons trivia, and I loved it because I still love my Simpsons, and I miss Phil Hartman.
Yeah.
Quick aside. Okay. But if, like, in theory, Mike, if, like, I got a note from an employment lawyer who would work with you, again, no money up front, because it doesn't sound like you have any money. Well, we're going to get into that. But you would be open to talking to such a professional. Am I right?
Yeah, I certainly can't. This contingency is really my only way of looking at things. I can't do the retainers.
Right.
But I also understand it's not like every disability lawyer will work on retainer. Everyone.
Right.
Employment law, there's no guarantee. Disability, usually there's some guarantee there will be some cash.
But someone listening might be a fan of your work on the radio. Like we might be appealing to people. So I'm just throwing it out there.
Yeah.
If there is an employment lawyer who would work with staff here, because I think Chorus can afford to sever you fairly, and I think the crime that you committed. I feel like you said capital punishment earlier.
That's what they call it.
And I've been accused, as you know, of being like a bleeding heart lefty. I bike everywhere. I'm a left-wing pinko.
Well, you got into the woke argument with Peter Sherman.
Oh, yes. Well, Sherman, by the way, Sherman's a good friend of yours.
Sherman's a good guy, yeah.
I want to shout out Peter Sherman.
Yeah, he's helped me out as well. I don't know what happened there. I don't know. Again, an age thing. I don't know.
Huh. And whenever I get a phone, because I'll get the odd phone call from Peter Sherman, it's kind of wild when I answer the phone and I hear that voice. I don't think anyone's got a voice quite like you. Got great pipes, but that Peter Sherman voice, it just it shakes the room.
Yeah, no, Peter's he's done everything. He's been a station manager, vice president.
I forgot about my fight with Peter Sherman. Yeah, that was his second appearance, and he felt I think he told me he wanted to. If you need to do this, let me know, but it might hurt your neck. But he wanted to reach across this desk here and strangle me. Like he was really pissed off at
some of the things. Bad?
Yeah, this is what he texted me. So, but we've made up. Like we've had nice conversations about you actually. So, yeah, Peter Sherman is a staff fan and supporter. So here I am telling you, you shouldn't have used that P word. Like I wouldn't have used the P word.
No.
But I don't know if you had a brain fart and forgot how damn accessible this Teams was to employees of Chorus. Like maybe you were at a moment where you felt like it was more of a private chat with a couple of buds or whatever.
It's a couple of hours after I finished my morning show and I'm sitting on the bed in the bedroom watching the TV, watching Doug, listening to the news conference, and we're all adding stuff on Teams that really just wasting time. And I thought, okay, here's a little joke.
Yeah. It was funny. It was funny in your head when you cooked it up, and then but then you typed it out, and then the rest is history. So you gave them the loaded gun. Like if they were looking to cut salary and get rid of a 60-year-old staff, you sure made their lives easy.
And they wouldn't accept any defense. They just we're taking this very seriously. Did you watch Breaking Bad?
Yes.
That line Hank has for Walt. Walt, you're the smartest guy I ever knew, but you can't figure out that he decided what to do 10 minutes ago when Uncle Jack shot him.
Right.
That was Chorus.
Yes.
Completely. They had made up their mind.
And again, you had I'm sure that this document you signed gave them what they felt they needed to.
Yeah, I'm sure that I couldn't find it, to tell you the truth.
So it's like the 1-2, you got your, slap on the wrist, and it's like, be better, Stafford. We can't have this again. And then you kind of, even though it was not a public forum, it was still enough people at the.
And Mike, you know what? I mean, 20 years at Chorus, and I did every shift they wanted me to do. I got called in over Christmas one year because one of the members of the morning show at the time decided that he was going to take time off, and Lauren Honigman was supposed to come in and fill in. Lauren got pneumonia.
Okay.
And they called me. I said, yeah, I'll do it. One time I got called in on vacation because Oakley was sick.
Right.
So they called me. I came in. I mentored a lot of people. One of the great things about 640, I know it takes its shots compared to CFRB. I never worked with screeners at CFRB as good as the ones I worked at 640. And I will say that I helped mentor and train a lot of them. So I did a lot for that company. I understand that. And to lose it over that word hurt.
Do you find yourself thinking back, like, what if I just didn't send that? Like, are you haunted by the fact that you, maybe if I didn't send that Teams message, I'd still be there today?
I knew the end was going to come for me eventually, not as violently as this one, because of my age. I was hitting my 60s. I tried to sound younger on the air.
See, I would think talking to professionals, as you know, I've never worked at radio, but I get the sense it's less age and more salary. It just so happens that the age and salary go together. So typically when you got a 60-year-old, 20-year vet at the station, they're making the kind of money that they don't want to pay for that position anymore.
They didn't pay me much when I started there. When I was constructively dismissed from CFRB, I was off work for a couple of months. And then I got the call from J.J. Johnson saying, hey, we're coming up with a new format, Mojo.
Right.
And it was Fred who recommended, why do you call Stafford? He's out of work. And I started, and it wasn't for great money. When Humble and Fred quit,
yep,
they opened the bank vault for me.
Wow.
I had the #1 rated show during Mojo. It was the afternoon show. And I know that rubbed some people the wrong way, that the afternoon guy was beating the hell out of the other shows in the ratings. But yeah, they were so afraid that I was going to leave as well. And that just started, accumulating. And you're right. I mean, the era of big money in radio, kids, it's done. Derringer's gone. I'm gone. Humble, Fred are gone. Ashby's gone.
Blundell's gone. Aaron Davis is gone.
Yeah. There ain't going to be the kind of coin that they used to spend on morning people anymore. It was a mistake taking that freaking job, that morning job. I love my 9 to
You
noon
told me
shift.
you'd never do it. Yeah, but okay.
But they
you know
came
what?
to me with like it was like one of those paintings with dogs with huge eyes and tears.
Also, I think that everybody knows that, at least in this market, they say the morning show is like the jewel of radio. Like there's something there maybe for your ego that
I don't know if that's even true anymore. Listening patterns are so weird now. I mean, during COVID, mornings got their asses kicked because nobody was driving to work.
Yeah. No, AM radio particularly is a traffic jam is the best friend of AM radio, I would say. So, okay. So here, we're going to take a little breather here.
Yep.
That beer is still working for you? Let me know if you need another one. Okay, I'm going to grab you another one. But, well, here, do you want a pale ale? I can go upstairs to the fridge and get you a cold one. But
Why would I do that to you? I've already pissed enough people.
Okay.
Thank you, man.
Again, the secret episode, which we're recording right now, I legit didn't know if you'd show up, like because of the history, because there was the turd in his basement comment, and then you seem to, like no longer be my buddy or whatever. So there's that. That happened way before your exit there, and I wasn't sure that Mike Stafford would be at the door today at noon. Like I was really happy to hear the knock, and then there you were, and that's why I didn't promote it. No. Like I promote everything.
Yeah, I know you do.
This is the first episode I didn't promote because it's like I almost think it might be better to just drop this fucker. You know what I mean? Like Stafford. We haven't heard. When was the last time you were on a mic?
June 2nd, 2020. Right. The other thing too is people were, oh man, sorry to hear what happened. That's bullshit, man. That's bullshit, man. You need to start a podcast. You need to start a. People think that
they want to hear your voice.
Yeah, but it's not like, I woke up this morning and I thought I'm going to start me a podcast. You need equipment. And it's also late in the game, I think, is it not, Mike? I mean, you're one of the...
There's only 1 million staff, but you're not a regular guy. Here's what I would say to you, and I have this conversation almost every day, but I was a guy in his basement, a turd in his basement, if you will, okay? And then I just started this thing 11 years ago. So I feel like I couldn't start this today. Like I feel like I couldn't get traction and do what I'm doing now. I couldn't do it if I started it today because I'm just a guy in his basement. But Humble and Fred are having success because of their great producer, but they're having success because they're Humble and Fred. They're famous Toronto radio people. Yeah. Your great advantage is that you're Mike Stafford. Yeah. This is your ace in the hole.
But I also know that Humble and Fred also got some starter money.
Did they?
Yes. I'm not going to get into it. I
didn't know that.
And that's no knock on them. I mean, they do an amazing job, but it doesn't hurt.
Right. Okay. So you mean like, would that be like severance or something? Like, what is this starter money? I know you don't want to talk about it.
This would be, going to someone saying, here's what we want to do. Okay. Would you help us get going on this thing? And good for them. Good for them.
Did they go to a billionaire by any chance?
I don't know.
Okay, I think I know what you're talking about. Okay, so here, let me just tell everybody. I got a few little housekeeping things here, and then we got to get into so now that this has happened, you got fired in June 2021. Chorus lets you go, 0 severance. You can't afford to pursue it legally. We'll see if we can fix that. But I want to just tell people listening that this is Mike Stafford's 3rd visit. The first visit was in 2015, and here's what I wrote at the time, because you want to go back and hear it. In this 113th episode, so you were episode 113, Mike Stafford talks about his days at CFNY, CFRB, 640, getting high before his Jeopardy appearance. Yeah. And then I don't think you liked me bringing this up, but I didn't know how.
No, I don't mind. I just wish I could get back on.
Oh yeah, well and why he fired Freddie P as his best man. I know you didn't particularly love that we talked about that, but at the time I didn't know how to. Anyways, I did it. Okay, I did.
We did it.
Okay, then. And I don't think you had a bad time because you came back. If you had a bad time, you wouldn't come back. So 2017, you come back. That's episode 265. Mike, that's me, and Mike Stafford play and discuss his 10 favorite songs of all time. I loved kicking out the jams with you. It was great.
So that was a great day. That was great.
Okay, so beer. You're gonna take some beer home with you because you love your Great Lakes. Also, you're gonna take home a large frozen lasagna from Palma Pasta.
Oh, that's dinner tonight.
That's dinner tonight. It's frozen solid though, so you might break your teeth.
What's
on
this
it.
speaker? This is cool.
Okay, well, yeah. So thank you, Palma Pasta, for the lasagna. That is courtesy of Moneris. That is a wireless speaker, and it sounds great. I mean, I have a review coming soon from Rob Pruce of all people, who can't believe how good that thing sounds.
Keyboardist from the Spoons.
Keyboardist from the Spoons, who got his Moneris wireless speaker. Yeah, he co-wrote Romantic Traffic. Yeah. He's got a co-writing. Oh yeah, Rob Pruce. I mean, there's been a lot of spoons. We had Liza Fromer here kicking out the jams yesterday, and we got into the spoons here. Apparently, her first crush was Rob Proust of the Spoons. And
Well, he was the cute one.
Well, he was a young one. That's why.
Yeah.
I think he's a lot younger than the rest. He was 15 when he joined the Spoons.
I know. We had a Christmas party at CFNY back in Pete and Geets days.
Sure.
It was downtown at a club, and the Spoons were and my God, their parents were all there. And I remember going up to them, these Burlington moms and dads, saying, you must be, Gord's parents, Sandy's parents, you must be so proud of these kids.
Absolutely.
Working with Nile Rodgers, for God's sakes.
I know. That came up yesterday, too. Because I was complaining to Liza that I loved Duran Duran as a kid, and I bought the album 7 in the Ragged Tiger, which I did love, but the song Reflex on that album didn't sound like the Reflex that I loved from 680 CFTR, because it was a Nile Rodgers remix. That was the one I loved.
My wife is in that video.
Because it was at Maple Leaf Gardens, right?
She was at that concert.
Yes.
And they had to play that song like 8 times so they could get the proper crowd shots. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, drop these fun facts anytime. So where am I going here? I want to give you a couple things. So why did I give you a wireless speaker? Because, Mike, you're going to listen to season 4 of Yes, We Are Open, which is a great award-winning podcast from Moneris, hosted by FOTM Al Grego, who I'm going to see at TMLX 12, which is May 11th at 6 p.m. in Marie Curtis Park. We're going to have some park bevies and just gather 6 p.m. And there's no Leaf game or J game that night. So this part, it's a perfect timing there. So Al Grego has been traveling the country talking to small business owners, and he's been collecting their inspiring stories. And if you're a small business owner and entrepreneur like me, you're going to love season 4 of Yes, We Are Open. So you're going to do that. I don't want you to show up at the door of Ridley Funeral Home for many more decades, Mr. Stafford, but they are pillars of this community. So here's a measuring tape for you from Ridley Funeral Home. Insert joke here. And we're going to, right after I shout out a couple more partners, I really want to get into your mental health and how it's been. Because if I do the math, this all went down in June 2001. That's 2 years ago almost exactly. So June 9th, 2001. It's 2021. Did I say 2001?
Yeah.
2021 is when your life changes here. And that's 2 years. So we have to get into it. But real quick, the Moment Lab, they're here for you, Mike Stafford, when you're ready to rebuild your reputation. We're kind of doing it here today, but they specialize in public relations, and they have a team of professionals that will help you craft your stories and that will resonate with your audience and generate positive media coverage. So whether you're launching a new product, building your reputation, Mr. Stafford, or managing a crisis, they've got you covered. And I'm happy to introduce anybody to Matt and Jared at the Moment Lab. And when you're throwing out your old tech, your old electronics, recyclemyelectronics.ca. That's where you go to find out where you drop it off so they can safely dispose of the chemicals there. So earlier, Mike, because I knew you broke your neck, I asked you about your physical health.
Mm-hmm.
But my main concern now, seeing you, I want to make sure, I want to talk to you about your mental health. Like talk to me about these last 2 years and just how are you doing? Because you're a damn human being, Mike Stafford, and I just want to know how you're doing.
It's weird. It's Dr. Elizabeth Kubler-Ross had the 7 stages of dying. It's the same thing when you get terminated for cause. I was in denial for, about a week or two. Then I was getting all the love. I was getting all the love from my Facebook friends. I was getting all the love from people in the industry. And you can't eat love. You can't pay the rent with love. Right. Stuff. And it's funny, too. People will then give you the love and then completely move on. I want to hear you soon. Where are you going to end up? Are you going to start a podcast, et cetera, et cetera? It's like, I got no answers for you right now, dude. It comes and goes. There are some days where I just absolutely nighttime sleep so I can dream about working. And then you wake up in the morning and you've got that harsh realization that you don't have a place to go to anymore. I had it briefly when CFRB and I separated, but I was 40 then. And then Mojo came along, and it was the best thing that ever happened was leaving CFRB. This time it's just like it's so final. The finality is what I can't handle, and I know it drives my wife crazy because she thinks I still have it. I still have that ability to go on and make people laugh and make people think and make people whatever feel good. My dad passed away a month or so ago.
Oh, I'm sorry, man.
Yeah. Around Christmas, he developed, it's called vascular dementia. And he was not, when my mom passed, he just didn't want to keep going. I'm sure a lot of people out there, and I feel for you folks. I've had a few people saying, especially when it's the dad who loses the mom, they just can't take it.
Right.
And he just wanted to go. He just wanted to go. And he just passed away one morning. And God love my sister who just and she's disabled herself. She's mostly blind. And she and Dad were living together in Toronto. He just didn't want to do anything. Dad, we have to go to the bank. Dad, we have to get a power of attorney. Dad, no. And now he's gone. And now we're going through this crap that's called probate, which just enriches the lawyers, unfortunately.
Right.
And the courts. So that still, I don't feel like I've grieved the way I did for Mom when I still had a job and, productive, et cetera, et cetera. Dad's gone. And they say, for males, you never become a man until you lose your father. So that aside, it's been tough, obviously, financially, dealing with pensions, and pensions are so right. You think that's your money. I mean, I've never collected a nickel from EI, and then they told me you can't collect it because you were fired for cause. Pensions, well, we can't release this money because the government wants to make sure you don't spend it, so they don't have to take care of you when you're an old man. It's my money. Give me my money. But they won't do it. Or they only do it, based on what the federal regulations say. As for another gay, I just don't see that happening. Who's gonna hire me?
So let's talk money. Okay, so you're out of money. Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
So what do you do when rent is due? What do you do when it's time to go grocery? I mean, you know what happened to grocery prices over the last couple of years. Like, what do you do?
I mean, I do get, I can get some money through my pension plan and stuff like that. But a lot of times it's just living in sheer bloody fear about what to, because I've got a 15-year-old. I've got my wife. It's tough. It's tough. And some, a number of people have been extremely helpful and extremely generous with me. But, there's a certain limit where, especially as you said, it's tough for everybody right now. It's tough for everybody. Interest rates are, on the way up. I go to Metro and it's like, holy Christ, look, when did this become this much? And that kind of thing. So,
but there are a lot of people listening who care for you, that miss hearing your voice on the radio. They love you, they care for you, and they might want to support you. And I don't want to embarrass you here. And you're here, and I'm glad you're here, and we're having this chat. And again, I didn't promote it because I didn't know you'd be here. But money, if you can't work to make money, I don't know how you get blood from a stone. If somebody listening who cares about you wants to contribute because they have some disposable income, would you be okay if somebody emailed you? Well, look, the mic's there, it's open. And I don't even know if this is. Am I allowed to say what sparked this visit, or you just tell me no?
Yeah, no. I
okay,
just rather.
Leave that. Okay.
Sorry, it's just
it's fine. But tell people how they could help you out financially while you figure shit out, because I don't actually. And then we're gonna talk honestly and openly. Where do you go from here?
Yeah. I mean, e-transfer. Well, I don't know, Mike. It's now
pride cometh before the fall. Stuff we're.
I'm a WASP, for God's sake.
I know.
A Catholic.
I know, but you've got to feed yourself. You got a family, and you need to pay the rent. Mm-hmm. And again, you're a human being, and these crimes that you committed. Let's get some perspective.
Crimes
here.
Against humanity,
right? Pop open that Great Lakes.
Thank
there.
You, GLB.
Okay, thank you, GLB. What is an email address? And is this, you going to say, remember, this is public. So are you going to, I don't think you have much to lose here.
No,
maybe tell people the email address where they could actually interact, e-transfer you some money to help tide you over while we figure out how to get some money coming in for Mike Stafford?
Well, my account is michael.stafford@bell.net. It's a legitimate email account. It's not one of those Hotmail accounts. Michael.stafford. And remember, folks, A before E in Michael.
Michael. I've known that since I was 3 years old.
Oh, I forgot you were Mike.
I'm a Mike. Yeah.
I had teachers put the E in front.
Oh, a lot of people. It's unbelievable. Maybe that's why I became a Mike, actually. I don't know. Maybe we'll look back and say, oh, yeah, people, they spell Mike properly. They never spell Michael properly. Okay, so Michael.Stafford at, what was it? Bell.net. Somebody can email, transfer you some money, and I think you'd appreciate it. And I would just recommend, if somebody has disposal, a lot of people do, right? I know. Listening to Humble and Fred today talk about, would you spend $10,000 to be at the Scotiabank Arena to see the Leafs clinch the Stanley Cup? And I'm sitting here thinking, like, it's almost gross that somebody's going to spend $10,000 for that ticket, right? And then meanwhile, I think you would really appreciate a small fraction of that if somebody could afford to make your life better.
Yeah, it's just it's when you wake up and you're uncertain about, filling a grocery cart, filling your gas tank, paying rent, utilities. I mean, you don't realize utilities, man. I've been a Bell whore forever. Right. My bill is like $300 and something a month, and I know that doesn't make me sound very sympathetic, but that's the reality of,
So these are kind of Band-Aids. So the Band-Aid solution, here, I'm going to fix all your problems, staff. I'm glad you're here. Okay, so it's free beer and lasagna. That's how I can take care of you. But so people can give you money to get you through. Maybe somebody can donate $100. Maybe somebody can give you $500. This is Mike Stafford. Again, it's michael.stafford@bell.net. Now I feel like it's a telethon here, but how do we fix this going forward? Like, how do we create a livelihood for you? Like, I've been listening to for the last hour, and you're still sharp as a tack. Your voice is incredible. Like, you have the goods. Is it because you're in your 60s that you can't get a broadcasting job again? Like, I'm just wondering, like, is there no job for a 60-year-old talented radio professional anymore?
I'm going to be 63 in August.
Right.
I'm 63 in August. The name as well is still Poison. I mean, how many people have you seen, I hate the word canceled, because of tweets they did 15, 16 years ago, or before Twitter even, something they've posted, and all of a sudden they become Poison. Some people survive that.
Right.
This industry, though, we're talking radio, and it's interesting because you're such a fan of the medium that is slowly dying.
Yep. And I'm helping to kill it, by the way. Which
exactly,
is the irony
sitting
in all
right,
this.
And I am as well. I'm complicit in this, sitting here.
Right.
So it's not like it's a growth industry. Like, not a problem. One IT job, I can get this IT job. Not a problem.
Right.
That kind of thing. And I'm glad. I was out of I used to get emails from people saying, "You're an old fart. Get off the air. You cuck. Let some younger guy." And I'd sometimes go, "Yeah, you know what? You got a point. What am I still doing here? Oh, never mind. I worked for it."
Right. Well, and so when I have conversations with people, because you'll come up, Mike Stafford, there seems to be the two thoughts on this matter, the Mike Stafford situation. And there is one thought, I'll say, that I've heard from people who say this is completely self-inflicted. Mike Stafford did this to Mike Stafford. I have no sympathy for the man. Where I'm more of the, I'm a more forgiving person. Here I'm tooting my own horn here. But I feel like you deserve another chance, and I can't hire you for a radio gig, but I can broker it. Like, if someone does not want to write michael.stafford@bell.net and, like, with, I don't know, opportunity of some sort or whatever, I'm Mike at torontomike.com. Like, you can write me. I'm happy to, like, broker something or whatever. I'm just saying, if there's anything out there, I don't know. But if it's some broadcasting opportunity, some voiceover thing, I've
looked into that. My wife has been pushing for voice work. That is a very, very tough thing to get into.
Right.
Again, you need tapes. Since I have no access to equipment.
But you can drive here. Like, I would donate if you needed to record something to make money to feed your fucking family staff at my door. If I'd find there's got to be a half an hour between gigs where you can come in the side door, sit here, I'll record. I do this for Peter Gross. So in fact, Peter Gross, he doesn't trust his tech or whatever, and he needs to audition. And because Peter's often worried he's going to end up living under a bridge. Okay, so I tell Peter, come to the door, you record here, audition here, and then you can feed yourself. And I would offer that to you as well.
Yeah, it's just I wish I had access to some recorded stuff over the years. Right. We did some real magic, especially with my buddy Patrick, and Ryan Bonner used to be my screener, and we'd beat up on him and stuff. And Tina Trajani, working with her when Supriya was on mat leave. So, there was some magic that we did together, and I obviously have no access to it now. I don't know what the hell. It was all posted on SoundCloud. It seems to have gone now.
Well, maybe again, I'm interjecting all the time here because maybe there's somebody listening, because let's face it, all your former colleagues are going to listen to this conversation to hear what you say, okay? So
they all follow you on Twitter.
They're going to be listening. I had a chat with a bunch of these people at that Great Lakes beer event only a few weeks ago, so they're listening. Now, so maybe somebody's listening who maybe they don't want Chorus to know that they're helping Stafford, but if they want to discreetly share some of this audio that you seek, again, mike@torontomike.com. Just, I don't care. I'm not going to rat anybody. If they haven't noticed, I've been doing this 11 years. I'm not going to rat anybody out for helping. I'm not the guy who screen caps the teams. In fact, if somebody sends me the screen cap and says, hey, Toronto Mike, write about this and sync Stafford, I have no interest at all. I don't want anything to do with fucking up somebody's life and livelihood. I
forgot to mention, I also found out that two people ahead of me at Chorus at the time went to the HR department and said, you've got to give him something. You have to give him something.
Right.
And HR was adamant, no, we made the decision. I understand. It's all HR departments have become, human resources used to be there to help you. And now it's all about how to cover the ass of the company, which I understand. When I started with Chorus back in April 2001, the stock was $33. Today, I think it's $1.25.
Wow.
So I understand the company has a fiduciary interest to keep my mitts off any severance. But they twice went to HR and said, you have to give the guy something. He's been here 20 years. Yeah, he fucked up. But, he's a human being. He's done a pretty decent job. And that's where I would love to be, in a courtroom. I hate to get to that level, and rarely do they go to that level. Just to say that, here's what I've done for the company. I'm not going to blame my broken neck and months of, drug use with hydromorphone and stuff like that. It wasn't like I was showing up high. It wasn't like I was going home after my shift and popping pills. It was something I thought, oh, this will be a little break. This will be funny, huh? Yeah, Doug, look at what he's wearing. Yeah, use the P word, as I said. One guy, like Gene Velitis told me, he said, yeah, you were approaching a red light and someone pushed you right through it.
I do feel terrible about all of this that you've...
I don't want to make this a pity party.
No, I know. You know what? It's when I was thinking about, the 50-50, you had the 50-50 chance of surviving the surgery after you broke your neck. And I was giving it a 50-50 chance that at noon I'd have a knock on the door and there Mike Stafford would be there.
Well, didn't I surprise you, you bastard?
I was seeing a ghost. I was like, oh my God, Stafford's at my door. And
you haven't mentioned the beard, by the way.
Well, we're going to take the photo. We're going to take the photo. I like it. It's this is like the next chapter of Staff's life.
Could use a little trim, but it's it keeps me warm because I can't afford gas.
We gotta fix this. Okay, so you can't. Obviously, you have a broken. You have your spinal. What is the condition you have before you broke your neck? What is that condition you have?
Ankylosing spondylitis. That is the arthritis of the spine. This happened when I was in my early 20s. Okay. It starts in the sacroiliac joints by your hips. And basically it inflames the spine so much it grows bone. And your spine just fuses. And Mick Mars from Motley Crue has it.
Okay.
That's why he quit the band. Mick can barely stand. And to add to that, a broken C7 vertebrae in your neck. Let's just say God love my wife, when we go to any mall or anything like, I can do 100 yards and I'm done for the day. So,
do you ever, I mean, I don't want to get grim here, but like, do you ever, I'm just checking in on your mental health again. Like, I want to make sure you're okay from a mental health standpoint, that you just don't give up one day. Like, I don't want staff to just throw up his arms and say, I give up. I give up world.
The thought has crossed my mind. I'm going to be honest with you. The thought has crossed my mind because seeing the disappointment in my wife and before he passed, my father, my family's been extremely supportive of me, but they're also starting to get a little pissed off, thinking that there is a way that I can get back into the business and make the kind of money I was making, and it's just not going to happen, unfortunately. But yeah, there's times you just go, what's the point here? I'm worth more gone than here.
See, that's now you're on the danger zone, because when somebody decides to take their own life, it's because they've reached this conclusion that the world or their loved ones are better off with them no longer here. Like that is the kind of the moment when.
Well, I'm not even thinking of it as like, oh, I'm such a burden or this or this. Like, you know, I've got pension money that I know if I were to, disappear, it would immediately, screw the federal regulations. It would immediately go to my wife, and she can take care of herself and her sons.
But how seriously are you considering that? Because
I'm a coward.
You're suggesting that you're too chicken to end your life. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, and I can't. I talked about my brother-in-law, my best man at my wedding, Tim. He took his own life. He decided he'd been going through some stuff, and October 2017, he made a decision, and I went on the air, and I was crying, and I said to people, if you ever find yourself thinking of this, think about what you're going to leave behind. Think about when someone does that, families start screaming at each other. It's not like, someone's been diagnosed with cancer. Oh my God, we're all behind him. It's just one of those things, Mike, where I don't know.
Well, listen to your words there. Because as you just confessed, you've considered it.
That I do have on audio, and that I listen to every once in a while to give my fucking head a shake and realize that what do they call it? A permanent a permanent solution to a short-term problem.
Right. So again, well, not again. I don't even know why I said again, except I definitely did. I've been concerned for you over at points over the last couple of years, and there was one day you posted something on Facebook that I actually interpreted, maybe because I'm thinking of what Martin Streak wrote when he took his own life on Facebook, but I read something you posted on Facebook, and I interpreted it as a suicide letter. Mm-hmm. This is how it read to me, and I made several phone calls.
I know.
Oh, you know this? Okay.
Well, I know. It's now starting to, considering the number of people that night who phoned me.
I could almost cry now thinking about it, because I'm the turd in his basement who hadn't talked to you in a long time, but I saw this on Facebook, and I made several phone calls to people I felt were far closer to you than I was, that could reach out to you, mm-hmm. because I felt like you were intending to take your life that night. That's how I interpreted this. This Facebook
it was a bit of a pity party there, but obviously it didn't happen. But yeah. So imagine me thinking, oh, there's nothing wrong with putting something on social media. No one will ever see this.
Okay, so how do we make sure? Like, are you seeing anybody for your mental health? Like, you talked about seeing a neurologist for this, and I actually have a neurologist myself, so we're in the neurologist party here. I have a hematologist too. But do you see anybody for your mental health? Do you talk to anybody?
No. I talked to Jody. My sister, some other people, but I mean, hey, I lost my benefits on June 9th. I have a pair of glasses here that are being held together by piano wire. So,
All right. Everybody knows.
It shouldn't have happened. It shouldn't have ended this way, Mike.
Well, it's not over.
I know. It's just, I'm thinking, and that's one of the other things. You know, someone will pass away, and I'll think, oh my God, I remember the interview I did with him.
Yeah.
I'll hear a song. Oh God, I remember interviewing Midge Ure. What a great interview that was. I remember Mickey Dolenz from the Monkees slamming his hand on the table at the end of the interview going, that's how you do an interview.
Right.
G. Gordon Liddy, one of the Watergate burglars, before he got into radio and became a right-wing king of radio, we ended the interview at CFRB. He looked at me, he says, you're very good at what you do. I was 30 at the time. I think of the interviews and the good I've done and the laughter I've brought to people. And
it's been a long time since I've tuned into talk radio, and I've gone on the record and said this. I think I said it to you when you were here your first time. Nobody's done this format better than you, in my opinion. You are, in my opinion, the very best at this talk radio format, and you had a great blend. I liked it better when there was the odd Simpsons trivia before it became like city council, TTC, this, that, whatever. But you're smart, you're funny, and you've got a great voice. What more would you want in a radio host? But like you said earlier... Reputation, yes. We have a problem here with the reputation.
Well, that's the other thing, too. I mean, even my wife has suggested, why don't you hire one? They run these commercials on TV about Reputation Defender. Clean up. Oh, we saw this in this. It was published. I can't fix this.
No, you can't unring this bell.
You can't unring this bell.
You have to, and I think you've actually started doing it today over the last hour or so.
I appreciate that, Mike.
Because what you've done, Mike, is you're owning it. And you're talking about why you did what you did. And I don't think we've missed anything significant in this journey. Mike,
I said and did things in the 80s, and Fred will tell you, he did this. We all did back in the day because there were no repercussions. I grieve for Gen Z and even the young millennials. I grieve for them because if you fuck up, it is never going away. Never happening. Fred used to put fake stories in my newscast. And today we'd be gone. See you later. Sayonara.
Yeah. It's no country for old men.
Oh, nice quote.
So, Staff, before we say goodbye, and again, I appreciate you coming over. And I did feel during one thing where you skipped, but that's fair. But I felt comfortable to ask you anything and bring up anything.
No, I understand that, Mike. I appreciate it. I just feel like I feel like a fucking loser right now. Not coming here, not talking to you.
No, I know. I think you're feeling like a loser because you can't provide for your family. Like, because you're not making money to provide for your family. Because I guess you're making very little right now. And you live in the GTA, and we all know that you can't live in the GTA without more than a little money. So,
I know that.
So we're basically, again, as I close here, we're appealing to people. If you care for Stafford and you want to help him out, just to help him pay some bills and just buy food for his family, michael.stafford@bell.net, and spell Michael right, will you? Michael.
And to those who have, by the way, thank you. But I also understand how tough it is for a lot of people out there.
Right.
A lot of people.
And maybe because that is something we can do now, but there is, if you have any idea, like you're not lazy, you're happy to work for money to provide for your family. You can't obviously I can't get you a job as like a fucking painter or something.
Not happening.
But if there's something Staff can do, because you're a smart guy, you're a well-spoken guy, you promise to behave yourself.
I promise.
Like if somebody has an opportunity to hire you maybe and get you a gig and get you working again and give you a sense of purpose, because my fear as we say goodbye now is that you'll realize you're worth more dead than alive and that you might actually do something about that, and that would haunt me. So for me, Mr. Stafford, if it ever gets to that point where you're actually thinking about following through with that, you can call me, okay?
Yeah.
And talk to me, and I'll reason with you. And if you ever have a chance to do a voiceover gig for some money or audition for something or whatever, come here on these fucking killer mics. I even have a great 4K camera I can stick on you or whatever. And I'll help you the way I help Peter Gross.
Are these
because I care about
Sennheisers,
you.
man?
No, these are Rode Procasters,
Nice.
they're called. And they're 11 years old now. I have the original set that I bought 11 years ago. All right,
if I can quote, I know he's somewhat controversial from his last special, Dave Chappelle, who I think is a genius, but I think he's walking on eggshells now. His last special, he was talking about cancel culture, et cetera, et cetera. Again, I'm not going to get into that crap. He said about taking a man's job. He says, you take a man, you're not punishing him, you're killing him. And I think that's pretty appropriate right now.
Staff, you sounded great. You know, you might not think so, but I think you look great in that beard. I'm looking forward to sharing this picture. I think it works for you.
My eldest stepson, Finney, said, I like it. I like it, Mike. I like it.
It works for you. This is the next chapter of your life.
Fucking itches as hell.
We're gonna get you fucking back to work somehow. Maybe even a lawyer drops out of the clouds to be your little angel that takes a cut of whatever. I think Corus owes you, and I hope justice prevails there. And I appreciate you coming over and chatting with me. Now, before I shout out the sponsors, I'm not a turd in his basement, am I, Mr.
No,
Stafford?
you are not a turd, and you are if you can shine a turd to gold, it has happened. And Michael, I really appreciate you reaching out and helping me out. And take care, brother.
And that brings us to the end of our 1,250th show. Nice milestone episode for Mike Stafford's return, 1250. You can follow me on Twitter. I'm at Toronto Mike. You can't follow Mike Stafford on Twitter because he's not going to tell you his burner account. But, you know the address to write him if you want to send a note to him or an email transfer. It's michael.stafford@bell.net.
You can probably find me on Facebook.
He's also on Facebook,
Yeah.
Mike Stafford. Our friends at Great Lakes Brewery are at Great Lakes Beer. Make sure I give you some beer before you go. Palma Pasta's at Palma Pasta. I have a lasagna for you. Moneris is at Moneris. You've got your speaker. Recycle My Electronics are at EPRA_Canada. The Moment Lab are at The Moment Lab. They can help you with the reputation management there. And Ridley Funeral Home are at Ridley FH. I'll see everybody tomorrow when I chat with Mary Jo Eustace.
And I don't know what the future can hold or will do for me and you, but I'm a much better man for having known you. Oh, you know that's true because everything is coming up rosy and green. Yeah, the wind is cold, but the smell of snow warms me today. And your smile is fine, and it's just like mine, and it won't go away. 'Cause everything is rosy and green. Well, I've been told that there's a sucker born every day, but I wonder who. Yeah, I wonder who. Maybe the one who doesn't realize there's 1,000 shades of gray. 'Cause I know that's true, yes I do. I know it's true, yeah. I know it's true. How about you? Oh, they're picking up trash and they're putting down roads. And they're brokering stocks, the class struggle explodes. And I'll play this guitar just the best that I can. Well, maybe I'm not, and maybe I am. Who gives a damn? Because everything is coming up rosy and green. Yeah, the wind